The major parties are converging. They both support the same interest: wealth. If you aren't wealthy, you aren't a priority. Government no longer serves the interests of its citizens. The public takes a back seat to private money interests. The parties love to emphasize their differences, but these differences are mostly smokescreen. On the issue that matters most, money, the choice the parties offer is mostly illusion. Economic policy has basically been removed from the political arena. Both parties essentially agree that they should do what the wealthy want. The best interests of the public matter little. If the public interest is in conflict with the interests of the wealthy, the public will lose. Both parties operate inside the same rigged system. This is not to say there are no differences between the two major parties, but it is in the interest of the powerful to emphasize those differences and de-emphasize the ways that they are similar. The parties don't really report to us, the voting public. We are discouraged from noticing broad areas of agreement about how we should spend our tax money or how our military should be used. Both parties are more than happy to keep the tax burden on the rich and corporations as light as possible. The journalist Connor Lynch said that the prevailing attitude is to amplify the so-called differences between parties while paying no mind to the fact that both parties ultimately report to the same corporate handlers within the same corrupted system. Does this sound like a system that is invulnerable to change? Quite the contrary. Huge populations of non-voters are not something to cluck your tongue and shake your head about. They are an obvious, unexploited political opportunity. If it was possible for Republicans to win their biggest House majority in nearly a century in 2014 by getting around 43 million votes out of 227 million eligible voters, is that really an insurmountable goal? Almost 144 million people didn't vote that year. With only 1/3 of that number, you could defeat both parties decisively. On a smaller scale, 42% of state, house, and assembly seats won without opposition in 2016. It makes one wonder what might happen if state-level representation wasn't conceded without challenge. 42% is a very big number. It's not as though 42% of the public love their state legislators that much. Most have no idea who their state representative even is. There's even a similar vulnerability in our presidential contests. Donald Trump won the presidency with 27% of eligible voters, 63 million out of 230.5 million possible votes. But again, we shouldn't really count the 20 million or so of those votes because they came from states that he lost due to the Electoral College. If we only count the 31 states he won, it was about 42 million out of 230 million possible votes, or about 18% of the electorate who gave us President Trump. Does that sound like an insurmountable obstacle to you? In this two-party system, when over 100 million Americans choose not to vote in an election, they are in fact voting no for either party. A no-show is a no vote for both the Democrats and Republicans. The public is saying neither party has my support. Oftentimes, this number exceeds the number of people who vote for both parties combined. This is extreme political vulnerability. If those voters had something to vote for rather than two parties to vote against, I believe they would seize the opportunity. Plenty of voters who reluctantly vote for one party or the other would also seize the opportunity to vote for something they actually wanted. Please give a like, follow, favorite, and subscribe to my free Substack. Let's make them pay.